This is the Maine Report, a public affairs program produced by the New England School of Communications.
Welcome to the Maine Report. I'm Olivia McCrillis. This is one of a series of editions focusing on nonprofit organizations in central Maine. You'll hear about their mission, who they are serving, and their vision for the future. We'll also talk about some of the events they have, such as their annual Pumpkins in the Park event. Our guest today is Bonny Dodson. She is the Director of Clinical Services at UCP. Thank you for joining us, Bonny.
Thank you.
Let me first start by asking, what exactly is cerebral palsy?
Well, cerebral palsy is a medical condition, and UCP of Maine got its roots in 1954, serving children and adults with cerebral palsy. It's much more than cerebral palsy now. The main programs are addressing people with a variety of mental health and behavioral health issues.
Okay, so it's a variety of different, okay. What is usually, so what's the age transition between people going from teen to adult like?
What we do when kids are getting ready to transition from our children's services to adult services is usually that starts several years before they turn 18, and identifying like what services are they going to need, and we start communication with the adult services at that point, because some have long waiting lists, some have shorter waiting lists, and making sure that they have all the information they need to transition smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you usually handle patients who say went most of their life without any kind of care?
Well, that's one of the things, is that there's a lot of services out there for children, and a lot of families don't know what all is out there. So it's like getting the word out through shows like this or other shows or media communications. So you can really enter through any point in types of services, from outpatient to home base, and we have targeted case management that can meet with the families and educate them about what are the services, and then help them do the referrals and advocate for them.
Cool. In the mission statement for UCP, it says you hope to affirm commitment by advancing the independence, productivity, and full citizenship of people with disabilities. What specific steps have you taken in order to accomplish this mission?
Well, part of it is starting with where the families and the children or the adults that we're serving are at, and what are their strengths, what are the resources that they have, what are they involved in the community, what would they like to be involved in the community, and do a thorough assessment, and then go from there. We map out a plan that is driven by the families and the children or the adults that we're serving, one step at a time.
Absolutely. So tell me, you guys have a program called Bridges. What exactly does that entail?
Bridges is an early education, early intervention program for children with autism spectrum disorder, or some of them might have other developmental disabilities or physical disabilities that have impacted their development. So it's a preschool program, and in that preschool program they're assessed for what needs they have. So some of them get speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. And the idea is to really focus and do early interventions to get them as ready as they possibly can be before they enter public school. Okay. Bridges also has another new program. It's a collaborative program with Child Developmental Services in the University of Maine, and it's called the Early Start Denver model. And in that model, it's a home-based program, and they start with kids even before their preschool age. And it's an intensive home-based program that has really good results with autism, for autism spectrum kids, to try to help them meet those developmental milestones early. And a lot of the research with autism is that the earlier the intervention, the better the prognosis.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. How long have you guys had the Bridges program?
I'm not sure how many years the Bridges. They've had different early childhood programs. Even before Bridges, they've been called different things at different times. It's been a part of what UCP has done for like over a decade.
Oh, wow. Has there been much of an evolution since the program first started?
Yeah, I would say the Bridges program is quite large. We have a site in Brewer and a site in Bangor, and it's part of our growth plan to expand, because there's a need for those early intervention services.
Right. So usually what is the age range for the kids that come in?
They're usually around, well, with the Denver Early Start model, they can be as young as 2 or a little bit earlier than that, all the way until when they turn 5, and then we transition them to public school.
Oh, okay. The behavioral health professionals that you have seem to really be a key part of your outpatient care. What do you usually look for in a BHP?
The BHPs are a critical part to both our rehabilitative services as well as home and community-based services that again serve kids on the autism spectrum with developmental delays and mental health issues. So a good quality for a behavioral health professional is one of the programs, RCS, we call it for short. You don't have to have a bachelor's degree. You need a high school diploma, and we train you. There's a state curriculum, and then we provide additional training. In the HCT program, you have to have a bachelor's degree. So a good quality is someone that is patient, can be flexible and really work with the family in terms of like, where they're at to develop goals. Someone that's comfortable going into people's homes and a variety of people's homes, in rural communities. And I think, it's just probably the patience and understanding and accepting. Some of the kids have a lot of challenges, and if you kind of stay empathetic and curious about what those behaviors are about, kids respond well to that, and families respond well to that, and you can do some problem solving. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be hearing about the different events UCP puts on, like last month's Pumpkins in the Park and their annual Thanksgiving pie sale.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Right here in Bangor, Maine is a new day. You are part of a team with passion and creativity. It's about personal attention at NESCom. You gotta pull your weight around here, even if it is the live truck.
Radio's all about personality. Hey, they can't see you.
Today, Coach Nason is preparing students for success.
Another practice day.
Fade up, fade down, fade up. We need a brand image. Go. Okay, here's the game plan.
Welcome back to the Maine Report. Our topic today is Pumpkins in the Park event put on by UCP. Our guest is Bonny Dodson from the United Cerebral Palsy of Maine. So Bonny, we have a couple stills from the Pumpkins in the Park event. What exactly is Pumpkins in the Park?
Well, it is a community awareness community event that UCP holds every year. Typically it's been at the Cross Center, and it's open to the public, and there's, we call them pumpkin patches, and kids can trick or treat around to the pumpkin patches, and there's bounce houses and face painting and clowns and photo booths, and it's quite the event, yeah.
So it's based on the kids, and a lot of times you have kids and families that come into this
event? It's all kids and families, and it's a ton of fun. We had a huge turnout this past year, and so we're looking at how to expand it, next year, and
yeah. Do you think this event has helped to get UCP's name out there and really make people aware?
Yeah, that has been our goal, to kind of make people more aware of the agency and the services that we offer. And based on the big response last year, I think it's working.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you offer volunteer work for events like this?
Well, we're always looking for volunteers, especially Pumpkins in the Park. Since it's such large and a big response, we need volunteers actually all through the year to kind of help. We're planning next year's already, the day after, we started on the next year. So there's little projects and there's big projects. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of anybody that would be willing to help. We're up for it.
Cool, that's awesome. So do you get a lot of volunteers each year?
Yeah, we staff volunteer. We've had some sororities and fraternities and Old Town Canoe sent some volunteers last year, so yeah, it's been a great event, and we're realizing we can even use more volunteers.
Cool,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I know you have a Thanksgiving pie sale coming up. Who usually bakes the pies for this kind of event?
It's a combination. Some of the staff bake, and we have donations from area bakeries and businesses that donate pies as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can people go about purchasing a pie, and how much do they usually sell for?
$6 a pie, and it's at the airport mall. We start selling pies at 10, and they've usually been gone by noon or 1, so they go very quickly.
That's awesome. What other events do you have throughout the year other than Pumpkins in the Park and the pie sale?
Well, those are our two largest. In the spring, UCP also organizes a spring dance for adults with intellectual disabilities that are in area group homes, and that's quite a big event and a lot of fun. Those are our three regular activities, but we also throughout the year try to plan social activities for the children and families in our various programs that can come in, and mostly so they have a social opportunity to get together and work on some of their goals and just meet other families.
Right. What are some of the primary goals that UCP has had for the future?
Well, some of the things that we're looking at, of course, I already mentioned the Bridges program is we have more kids than we have space for, so we're looking at expanding the Bridges program down the road. Our behavioral health home program, which is one of the newer programs at UCP, it's an integrative mental health and physical health model of case management for children, and we're looking to expand that this year. And we have a new outpatient program, and that's going well, and we're going to be expanding that as well. And our major focus in both home-based and outpatient has been on trauma treatment and family recovery type of things. We also treat other things, but that's been a big focus of ours for the last couple of years.
As you were saying, I know that one of the biggest things you'd like to further with UCP is the community's awareness. How do you go about making people aware other than events that go on?
A lot of his marketing flyers. We do a lot of outreach to other agencies, finding out what they do, sharing what we do. We are involved in a lot of state facilitated and community facilitated organizations where we're all trying to share our resources and information about what we're all doing. With limited resources, you don't want to duplicate. You want to make sure that we're complementing, what we're all doing.
Right. How much more aware would you say people are since UCP was first established in Maine?
Oh, that's a big question, yeah. Because there's since UCP was first established, in general, there's been an expansion of mental health services since the 1950s. So I think there's a lot more resources for children and families and adults. It's just a matter of getting the information to the right people. And so that's why that integrative health care is so important, because primary care physicians are the front line working with families. So making sure we're integrating our work in behavioral mental health with the primary care physicians is crucial. Yeah.
Where can people go if they want to learn more about UCP?
They can call UCP 941-2952, and Jared Dolly is our intake coordinator, and he's well versed in all our programs, so he's a good starting point. And if people want more information, then he will connect them up with an appropriate director.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. That wraps up this edition of the Maine Report. I'd like to thank Bonnie for coming in. I'm Olivia McCrillis, and thank you for watching.